Television. I'm Sakshi Batra, and this is Market Today. As we start off another week, there are a lot of cues to really look at. But remember, last week on the Nifty, we did see about a 1% cut on the entire week. It was a truncated one. On Thursday, that was the last working day that we had seen, the Nifty shut up below 22,450, something that they have been defending for the last 5 sessions. They gave up that on the last trading session, on the expiry session before the long weekend. But as we start off this new week, all eyes are on US Federal Reserve again. The monetary policy review that's scheduled for March 19, that will be an important cue this week. Of course, the recent inflation data in the US, it does indicate a favorable trend, and the possibility of interest rate cuts, however, remains still uncertain due to the ongoing trade tensions. But Fed's commentary will be extremely important for the market to really look at from the global perspective. Back home, of course, WPI inflation data will be important to see. Then there are positive global cues. Both US and Asian markets have given us a positive cue for this morning. There's also a reduction in the intensity of the sell-off in the FIIs that's likely to again influence the Indian stock market. So for the US, we did see the S&P 500 gaining about 2% in trade, and the Dow Jones ending with 1.6% gains, the Nasdaq surging over 2.6%. So a smart bounce that we had seen on Friday night. When we also look at the Asian markets this morning, we are seeing that they're trading higher after China has pledged more steps to revive consumption, and the US markets also handover was positive for the Asian markets. So Japan's Nikkei was up 1.3% this morning, S&P SX 200 up by about 0.6%, South Korea's Kospi adding about 1.5%. Futures in Hong Kong were up by 1.8% as well. So all of that pointing out to be a strong cue for the Indian stock markets. Even back home on the GIFT Nifty trends are indicating about 126 point of a jump at 22,570 odd levels, indicating a gap up start as well. And of course, as I said, FIS have net sold 792 odd crore rupees in trade as of Thursday night, while DIS bought about 1723 odd crore rupees. So we are seeing the intensity fall for a lot of these FIIs as well. Let's welcome our guest on board to really get a sense of what could you keep in mind when you're looking to trades this week. We have Mr. Vinay Balinchkar, Head of Research at Ventura Securities. Welcome to you, Mr. Balinchkar, and thank you so much for joining in. Do you finally see the green after Holi getting stronger and deeper for this new week?
Yeah, so we should be off to a good start today. However, I'm not very optimistic, and I think that we will be in a trading range for some time to come. Given that we are ending the year, so there's going to be no fresh buying coming into the markets, and as we enter April, we are going to face the Trump so I would like tariffs. So I would like to just wait this and positions only after the implemented.
Yeah. So how much of a risk factor do you think all eyes will be continuously on 2nd of April to finally see how things are shaping up? And until then, is it going to be again a lot of volatility that we should brace for?
See, if you see, the Trump himself has indicated that India has been willing to cut taxes, but the government has not come out and said on what basis they are going to decrease certain things. Secondly, in a very agrarian economy, which is a sensitive issue, it's very difficult to bring rates down in those segments. So it's very important that we get a trade deal out of Trump, which will kind of ring fence these agri products. That is very important. Else things can get very politically sensitive.
Fair point. Okay, so that's going to be extremely important to look at. What is your own expectation from the US Fed this time around, Mr. Balinchkar?
I don't think there will be a rate cut because the economic data has been strong. And, I think that the language might change a bit.
Okay, fair point. Let's actually shift a little bit focus to look at how the gift nifty trends were indicating. Have they translated in the pre-open trade? We actually are a percent down at 22,166. So not something that we were looking at or expecting from the gift nifty, but hopefully this will improve for the better. And things will improve for the better as far as the pre-open trades are concerned. Right now at 220. That's the number at which the Nifty is indicative of an opening. We are looking at, however, the Sensex opening about 350 points higher in trade, mixed trend as far as the pre-open are concerned. So we'll continue to look at how things will shape up. But Mr. Bulishkar, what is the sense that you're getting with the FII position now? Do you think finally the sell-off intensity is abating a bit? Is it likely to turn for the better going forward from here? For India in terms of the high intensity sell-off that we were seeing? Is that going to reduce finally?
So, I'm not in the bullish camp as far as FII investment is concerned. I think that their selling will continue because there are some certain structural problems that they face, that the rupee depreciation and the dollar return that they're getting in the Indian markets is in line with what they get in the T-bills market. So there is no incentive for them to invest out there, and rather there would be a risk of trade towards, redeeming money out of India.
What about China? Do you think that will continue to garner more favor, especially because Chinese government has been consistently talking about taking more steps to revive the economy, and that's the focus that they are going to be having now?
So, the Asian markets have been under duress for almost 10 years. If you see the European markets, they have been not going anywhere for the last 2 years. Their economies are not doing well. And now with, the war expected to end in Ukraine, there is that expectation that, money will flow back. And if you see some data which was indicated, is that money is moving out of US and getting into European markets. So we are going to see market, the fund flow is clearly away from India to Asia and to Europe and into non-American equities. So that is how the money flow has been going, and unfortunately, it's not currently in favor.
Okay. Another key macro factor is that the Brent, which was continuously on a falling trend, that's again seen some firmness, about $71 a barrel yet again through. What's the sense that you're getting? Is crude oil price also, which was trying to provide some support to OMCs, to, the crude derivative products back home, are they again going to be in for some volatile turn?
So, these Americans have gone and blasted the Houthis, and, the Red Sea problem could erupt again. And already we are struggling with the, revival of the economy, and that, that is something that we can definitely avoid. So, there will be concerns around that. And also, the noises that are coming out of Ukraine are also, with Zelensky backtracking on a lot of commitments that they are making. And France has been warmongering a lot,
Yeah.
of wanting to put boots on the ground in in Ukraine. So, all that is not very pleasant news, and the markets don't like all these uncertainties.
Very true. Okay, Mr. Bulinshir, there's another factor that's, when we're talking about commodities, gold has, seen $3,000 an ounce as well. And, that has led to a lot of places in India seeing on the spot level 91,000 per 10 grams on gold prices. So again, do you think the focus should be on the commodity-based stocks like precious gold, and is that something that you're looking at?
The gold is definitely expected to do very well over the next 3 to 4 years. And until this, you know, until the economy in the US kind of stabilizes and uncertainty persists, I think we will continue to remain firm on the yellow metal.
Okay, got that. Let's actually look at a few stocks as well that are going to be important to track for today. I'll start off with IndusInd Bank. Remember last week, this was, the space that really got hunted badly. I mean, because of the troubles that emerged. We saw 27% downtick on day one, and then follow through, sell-off that continued as well, despite some recovery. But today is when it is actually showing a recovery of about 5%. This has happened after the RBI has talked about adequate capital, funds that are still with the bank, so it's adequately capitalized at this point in time, and you can see some, uptick coming back. I want to understand from you, Mr. Bulinshkar, how have you assessed the IndusInd Bank story up until now? Do you think, this was oversold? This was an overreaction to something that was shared, even when the management came out and said that yes, we had a problem, but we hope to resolve it by taking a hit only in Q4, and things should look better from here on. And what would you, in fact, advise investors to do? Should they look at this as a buying opportunity?
So IndusInd Bank has been in the news in this fashion on pretty frequent basis. 2018 was one such year, and that time the stock had sunk to from 4 digits to almost $450. Today we are at 650. So inflation adjusted, and for the period that has gone by, earnings that get added to the book value, I think it is more or less in that frame. But I would not like to buy this stock until their Q4 numbers are out and the entire thing is settled. Of course, the damage has already been done, and as you said, we are seeing a 5% upside. But I would there are so many banks available at discount to book. Look at Canara Bank. Look at the other private banks are also coming out of their their hibernation. For example, Kotak has just started picking up. So I think there are better opportunities and better managements, and until you don't get a good growth story coming out of IndusInd Bank, I think the pain will sustain.
Pain could sustain. Okay. Let's also welcome our other guest on board. We have Vaishali Parekh, Vice President Technical Research and Analysis at Prabhudas Leeladhar, now joining in. Warm welcome to you, Vaishali, and good to have you with us at the start of another week. Tell us, are the cues looking much better than what we had seen last week? Are we going to be seeing some more recovery, or is it going to be again a volatile week?
Very good morning. So right now what we are seeing, well, market is not sustaining at higher levels. Even right now we saw that, well, the GIFT Nifty was showing us a positive start. But I would say that, 22,600, 650 is also the near-term hurdle. We are not able to cross that as well. So the trend is still continuing to be down, and we are not really looking much at any higher levels, but we'll wait and watch. It's not a clarity still.
No clarity still on the markets right now. The markets are unable to sustain at higher levels. So what's the best way, Vaishali, would you advise investors and traders to go about? Still stay away from the Nifty Bank? Should it be again a stock-specific strategy?
I would say, so what we are doing, Sakshi, is that, we are just recommending small trading strategies intraday. If that is so, that's fine. But otherwise, wait for some stability, and that is the time to put in.
Okay. Any key stocks that are on your radar for today, Vaishali, that you'd like to highlight for our viewers?
So, see, in the banking sector, we do have Kotak Bank, which continues to show strength. But on basis of last week, Thursday's move, I think there's one LG equipment that was showing good volume and good pickup. So that is one stock to our liking, and that is currently at 440 levels. I would say 425 would act as a support, and 465 would be the trading target. The other one which I like is Godavari Power. So that is another trading strategy. That is how we are looking at stocks. We shall wait for the day to start, and I think it's currently at 174. So 170 would act as a stop loss and look for a target of 185. So this is how we are doing right now. We're just trying to grab the opportunities wherever we are seeing some volume pickup, something intraday, and that's it. Because there's no continuation in trend. So what's the point, having positional trades or something like that? It's not working.
Okay, fair point. So that's as far as, some of the stocks that Vaishali is keeping an eye out on. Mr. Bulinshkar, another stock that I'm looking at is Ola Electric as well. That's going to be an important one to really look at. Again, there are payment default worries. Then there is one of the vendors that is, taking, to insolvency kind of situation. How are you really looking at the troubles that keep on mounting for Ola Electric? There is an expectation that, Ola Electric could be at the risk of falling below 50 rupees on payment worries as well. How are you navigating through this one at this point?
No, they need to get their act together, and the most important thing is to get the sales volume back. If they're not able to get the sales volume back at this juncture, when the entire EV space is about to pick up, then there's some serious flaw with the acceptability of the product. And they've launched vehicles in all different segments, and despite that, the volume stability is not there. So I expect that the negativity will remain with us.
Okay, the negativity will remain consecutively. Vaishali, how about you? How would you look at Ola Electric at this point?
So for now, there is, of course, it's obvious that it's on a downward trend, too oversold. We'll wait for a reversal to set in. Nothing much to say because it's absolute in the deep oversold and showing weakness.
Absolutely. So remember, Ola Electric will be continuously in focus. We have seen after a high security number plate manufacturer and vehicle registration agency has sued the company for defaulting on payments. And, in an exchange filing over the weekend, Ola Electric has mentioned that it has been sued by this Rosmerta Digital Services, which has petitioned against the company at the National Company Law Tribunal, Bengaluru, and also has petitioned to initiate corporate insolvency proceedings against the company. And in response, Ola Electric has said that the company has sought appropriate legal advice and it strongly disputes the claims that are made by Rosmerta. So that's something that will keep the stock in focus in today's trading session already. There's an indication of a percent downtick in the pre-open trade. Below 50 levels is finally you're looking at in the pre-open as far as Ola Electric is concerned. So that's also going to be an important one to look at. Okay, another stock that I wanted to discuss is Reliance again, with the Jio launching this unlimited offer for the upcoming cricket season. Jio SIM at 299 rupees and above with truly unlimited 5G data, also for 90 days of cricket days. How are you looking at this, finally playing up for Reliance Industries, which has rather been a stock that's been in a consolidative lower end over the last 6 months?
So there's that the announcements are good, but fruition of the deal will take some time to happen because there are a lot of security related issues that the the bureaucracy and Starlink had to sort out. So they want the data to be routed through uh, you know through the local carrier in case of emergency situations. And how that will happen, it remains to be seen. And how India's bureaucracy works. So how quickly that thing will fall into place remains to be seen.
Okay, fair point. So that's something that we'll keep an eye out on. Vaishali, any trading strategies on Reliance at 1242? About a 0.5% downtick is being indicated for today.
Well, I think it's showing resistance. So 1260 for near term acts as a resistance. So if it crosses about that, then it could be a buy. But I think for now, it could go to 1220. That's what we will look at.
Okay, fair point. All right, viewers, we'll try and look at now the opening session for the markets, and we'll come back to the conversation with both Vineet and Vaishali in a bit, but start looking at how the Nifty is ticking. 22,473. So thankfully on a positive footing, 73 points higher. Nifty Bank about 0.4% up. 48,240 that can be seen on the Nifty Bank. So about 0.3% higher for both the benchmarks at this point in time. Let's also look at how the mid and the small caps are opening this morning. On Monday morning, both the mid and the small caps, remember this has been a volatile space of late, just flattish with a positive bias for the mid caps, 48,198, about 0.15% higher. Let's also look at how the caps are shaping up, for about 0.2% up at 4,914 at this point in time. Let's actually look at some of the key heavyweights, Reliance in Bank. Let's look at some of the other banks like HDFC, ICICI to see 50 Nifty for on that announcement of Jio's unlimited offer for upcoming cricket season. Then let's also look at how banks are shaping up in this end. Let's look at whether there is any kind of a recovery on that one. Yes, there's a 3.5 to 4% uptick, 697 on IndusInd Bank. At this point, let's also look at some of the other banks like ICICI. You see how things are shaping up there. You have HDFC that's in the positive zone, but it's the Nifty Bank. It's shaping up on the back of positive momentum on ICICI and HDFC. But ID stocks are actually falling back. HCL Tech to see how they are shaping up. 11 lines of 448. You can actually see the advance is still on the positive side, but it's the IT stocks that are continuing to be under pressure in this new week as well. LTI, Mindtree, Infosys, Wipro, all of them showing us some signs are on decline. But banks are up, financials are up, PSU banks are higher in trade. You also have the CPSE index up and about, the metals that are shining bright, FMCG stocks, autos also slightly higher in trade, capital goods index as well. So barring realty and IT, I think rest of the pockets are still showing us some positive signs right at the opening among the key sectors that we are looking at this point in time. The Nifty now about 90 points higher in trade, 77. The top movers on the Nifty are, of course, IndusInd Bank, Bajaj Finserv. You also have Tata Motors, by the way, up by about 1%, with the brokerage houses again coming out with fresh reports on that one. L&T, Hindalco are some of the other movers as far as the Nifty is concerned. In fact, on the Nifty, out of the 50 stocks, we have 39 stocks that are opening higher in trade as well. But on the lower end, you have BPCL again with the higher prices of crude that's declining. Britannia also down in trade. You have HCL Tech, Wipro, like I said, some of these IT stocks that are dragging. Nestle is down in trade too. You have Asian Paints, Dr. Reddy's. These are some of the pockets that are declining in trade. The Nifty Bank has about 9 stocks out of the 12 up into the green at this point in time. So that's the overall outlook as far as the opening is concerned. Let's get back to Vaishali. Vaishali, how do you find the opening?
Well, it is, I think I would look at a range of right now 22,650 still as resistance and 22,000 as support for this week. So let's see how we go. I think we are holding on at higher levels, so maybe further bounce can be expected.
Further bounce that can be expected. Okay. Mr. Bulinchkar, we were talking about Ola Electric, but let's get the entire auto space also in focus. Tata Motors, HSBC has upgraded the stock to buy, even though they have cut the target price to 840 from 930 earlier. But the valuation derating that we've seen in the last 2 to 3 quarters, does that make sense for somebody looking at a fresh investing opportunity as the right time to look at Tata Motors right now?
I'm not very comfortable with the international scenario.
Okay.
So, just wanting to steer clear of these stocks.
Staying away from the stock. And what about the overall auto space? Is that also in a sticky zone right now? Would you like to rather stay away?
Which one is that, ma'am?
The entire auto space.
So I think within the auto space, Bajaj Auto looks to be very interesting.
Okay.
Bajaj not very well.
Yes.
But it's kind of overvalued. So again, concerns around valuation. I think apart from Bajaj Auto and maybe Maruti to an extent, I don't think that I'm very comfortable with the valuations of any other auto stocks.
Okay, fair point. What about you, Vaishali? How are you looking at Tata Motors right now?
Tata Motors currently, if you ask me, Sakshi, is again at a support level of 600 levels. So I would say that I would see a further bounce, maybe up to 680, 670. But what's important is that we need to wait and watch if 600 is held on.
Okay. Vaishali, anything in the mid and the small caps that you'd like to highlight? I mean, both the spaces are opening about 0.3, 0.4% up. Any interesting opportunity that you spot here in the opening?
So as we spoke about LG equipment, have a look at that. That's doing very well. We had recommended at 445 levels. It's already given a good, strong opening. So that is one stock that I like. And let's wait. I think stocks like Keynes Technology, Linde, they all are quite well placed. So I would focus on these stocks.
Okay, fair point. Mr. Pulinchka, now give us an understanding of the key pockets that you're finding more comfortable to look at afresh in this current setup after the recent correction that has happened. If there are any top 2 or 3 sectors that are actually catching your attention this time.
So, uh, public sector banks have a very interesting play. I think
Okay,
they're very undervalued. Uh, and I expect better performance from them than the street is expecting. And so
okay.
it's a very safe space to be in. We like
Mm-hmm.
PFC, REC, long-term calls. Uh,
Okay.
uh, we think Salzer is a very interesting story. Uh,
Okay.
it's a small cap stock where we
Mm-hmm.
think that they will be doing very well.
Mm-hmm.
And the CDMO space, Laurus Labs looks interesting. Then there is in that space, One Source as a stock uh, is looking good. So we like all these very very selectively. We like these stocks.
So after Lotus Labs, which one did you take? Which one did you say?
One Source, which is the carve out from Strides Pharma.
Oh, okay. Got that. So that's like a CDMO, healthcare largely,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
space
yeah.
that you're looking at. Okay, fair
So
point. So
Piramal
please.
Pharma is also a very interesting play. We
Okay,
think that
okay.
they can do very well.
Okay, Piramal Pharma, Lotus Labs, and One Source is something that you could definitely look at from the large pharma
Yes.
healthcare space. Vaishali, how about you? Anything within the pharma pack that you like? It's actually not been showing any strong momentum of late, but anything in consolidation that you believe one could definitely look at?
So I'm looking at Dr. Reddy's because that
Okay.
is one stock which is showing signs of bottoming out at 1100 levels. And I would focus at this because risk reward ratio also turns out to be favorable. I think if
Mm-hmm.
the view goes right, it can go towards 1200 levels. Purely as a trading strategy, I would focus on this.
Dr. Reddy's is something that you would definitely look at from the pharma healthcare pack. So there you have viewers, a lot of 4 5 stocks that you have from both of our guests as far as the large pharma story is concerned that you could definitely look at. Okay. Another space is metals that I wanted to discuss. We were discussing the commodities, we discussed the crude oil, we discussed gold as well. But when we talk about the large metal space, with China coming back strongly and making all efforts to bring back its economy back on track, is metals going to be an interesting story to really look? Mr. Bulinchka, what would you say on metals?
Yeah, definitely metals are a space to be in. And but the way to accumulate these stocks is not to go and buy them out there. I think on a bad day you must buy them, and you will get plenty of these opportunities as we end the month of March.
Mm-hmm. Okay. How about you, Vaishali? Metal pack, what looks good?
So JSW Steel, among all the steel stocks, I think JSW Steel looks quite clear. 950 would
Okay.
act as a support, and for now it looks positive. So also as the case with Tata Steel, it needs to cross 155, 156. So that's a small level that we are looking at. But besides that, I maintain that Hindustan Copper and all these, I think downside is quite limited. And they can be accumulated. But Nalco, Hindalco, they're all good to me for
Mm-hmm.
accumulation purpose.
Good for accumulation purpose. Half odd percent uptick on the Nifty Bank. So we are garnering some strength as we inch closer to the first 15 minutes of trade, and the Nifty is also back above 20 to 500 odd marks, so 120 points higher in trade. That's what we're looking at on the Nifty. So finally picking up some strength. I hope this garners more pace. Let's also discuss some of the other stocks. Mr. Bulinchkar, Adani Group stocks back in focus because brokerage houses are coming out with fresh reports here. Cantor especially has come out with initiating of an overweight rating on both Adani Green and Adani Power. They actually believe that there are some interesting valuation reasonables as far as risk reward is concerned at the current level too. That's making a case for buying afresh both on Adani Power and on Adani Green. They have a target price of 595 on Adani Power and 1222 on Adani Green. How would you look at the Adani Group stocks and what looks promising to you particularly?
So Adani Power, Adani Green, Adani Ports, Adani
Hmm.
Energy Solution. and Adani Enterprise. That's the pecking order for buying these stocks.
Okay. Okay, fair point. And in fact, Adani Group is also going to be in focus because, the company and the group is planning about a 1.1 trillion rupees capex for FY26. That's up from 92,000 odd crore rupees this year, focusing on energy and infrastructure. So that's another leeway that you can definitely look at as a key trigger. So three, four stocks named by Mr. Bulinchkar there. What about you, Vaishali? Anything specifically on the charts that looks positive or stands out within the Adani Group right now?
I'm really not tracking any of those, but well, I think last week what I saw, Adani Green was showing some strength. I'll just have a look at that chart. I think downside, I mean, it's making an effort to make higher bottom formation. So for now, I would say 800 is the support, and one can trade for a target of 1,000 levels.
Okay, got that. So that's something that we can definitely look at right now. Let's in fact look at some of the other stocks if we can track the Nifty 500 basket and see if there are some interesting names there, for us to really talk about. The index itself is up by about what 0.6% odd or so. Let's see if in the broadest index there is something. So LG as was marked out by Vaishali is the top mover. So kudos to you, Vaishali, for talking about that. IndusInd Bank, of course, is up by 4.4% now. Muthoot Finance and Manappuram Finance both are actually up and about on the gold comforts that they're getting. Tejas Networks is higher. KPIT Technologies is also moving up. We have Godrej Consumers, MCX, that's also up and about. Hoodco, Granules, KEC, that's something that is moving up. Mr. Bulinchkar, on Muthoot and Manappuram Finance, would you have any say, or on MCX, exchanges which track these commodities?
Yeah, so it's the best way to play the commodities boom. It's going to be a long duration boom commodities, and hence value and interest is going up in these counters. So we expect the commodity pack entirely to do well, and MCX is a very big beneficiary of it.
Okay, and how about BSE particularly? That space has been extremely volatile of late, but what would your approach be on an exchange stock like BSE?
See, BSE is, we have seen volumes decline over a period of time. And, you would expect the stock to come off, and it has come off in sentiment sub 4,000 is what we saw it. Our base case assumption is that 4,800 is what we are looking at. But if you were to accumulate BSE now, over a period of time, what is going to happen is that is what I believe that over the next 5 years, the market share between the two players is going to equalize.
Okay.
And that gains are going to come more from the BSE derivative segment. So keeping these two things in mind, I think BSE is a very, very interesting value buy from the current levels.
Okay. Vaishali, quickly to you. UBS also has initiated its coverage on BSE today with a buy rating and a target price of 5350. There's a strong upside that they expect from the current levels, which is under 4,000 levels right now. They believe there is diverse revenue streams, operating margins, which are likely to improve potential value. If a common contract note is approved, they also believe their market share is increasing due to better brokerage management as well. And they're offering of an alternate expiry date to NSE, a key competitor. The recent improvement in volumes is something that they are going to be betting big on. How would you play BSE?
So I agree. Actually, 6,000 was the high recent what we saw, and it's given a one-way downfall. So currently, it's taking support. It's oscillating at 200 period moving average. So I would say 3,500 would be the support for now. And once the stock crosses about 4,200, 4,300, it brings further clarity for the stock to surge higher towards 4,500, 4,800. So I think I would take baby steps right now.
Take baby steps right now. Okay, Mr. Bulinchkar, we thank you on that note for being with us on the show and helping us with your thought process across various aspects that we've discussed. I hope you have a fantastic time. Till the time we see you next on another edition of Business Today.
Thank you.
All right, we'll continue our discussion now with Vaishali, and we'll try and find out, Vaishali, first 15 minutes out, anything on the chart that you specifically would want to highlight?
So, Sakshi, we spoke about Dr. Reddy. That's already on move. Now, I would really look at, I think, the other stocks. I think even in the cash category and frontline also, we are seeing a good bounce. So, first focus would be on Voltas. because that was comparatively showing strength all along. So I think Voltas is one stock to our liking, and I think one can look for a target of 1460 or so from here.
Okay, Voltas is something that you could be definitely looking at. In fact, this is an interesting theme to really look at some bit more because, the summers are upon us and, consumer durables, home appliances will be something that we will be looking to buy, refrigerators, air conditioners, fans. That's something that will be definitely up and about. We could also look at more summer related themes from the consumption space as well. Vaishali, anything to add to Voltas when we talk about this consumption theme and summer-related stocks particularly?
So Amber is another stock which I constantly focus on, and that has also shown good support at these levels. Technically, it made double bottom at 5,500, and now it's surging. So for those who want to consider buying, wait for a dip going towards 6,000. It's currently at 6,500 levels. 6,000 would be an ideal level to get into the stock, and one can look for a target of 7,000, 7,500.
Okay, got that. So that's the view that's coming in. Keep an eye out on these summer-related stocks, and you could definitely focus on them. Let's look at a few more stocks. Okay, from Broadest Index, we were just remember the shares are in focus as the firm has received 123 crores of PLI incentive. That's something that's working well for the company. Vaishali, have you been tracking this stock at all? Anything to look at right now?
In fact, yes, Tejas Networks, if you're asking me, I think the stock is quite oversold. Good erosion we have seen right from 1400, 1500 levels to now at around 685. So even on a weekly chart, the levels that
Okay. But we were talking about this. There's also this cables and wire segment that we should focus on there. And why is that? Because Goldman Sachs today has downgraded Polycab. It's cut the target for peers awaiting better entry points as well. Remember, all of this started when it's into the cables and the wire space. KEI started to see some kind of a heat, and many brokerage houses have been cutting their targets. So for Goldman Sachs, they've cut the target price for both Polycab and KEI Industries by 23% and 17% respectively. Let's get that one going to understand, what does it mean for all of you who have been going big on the cables and the wire segment thus far, because we've actually seen good amount of profits and people making wealth in the erstwhile rally that we saw in this space. Vaishali, what would you say now? Fresh concerns from brokerage houses on Polycab and KEI?
this can go down furthermore. I'm also looking at Phenolex, KEI, and well, there's nothing concrete really. So Phenolex also, if you look at Phenolex Industries, Phenolex Cable, they are all at the bottom, but it needs to show a bounce back to see signs of reversal. So too early to say something.
Too early to say something as of now. Okay, another space that I'd like to discuss is the renewable energy space, something, and the solar space as well, the power related space. That's something, we need just talked about PFC, RAC coming back in flavor, but let's talk about the entire renewable energy pack as well. That's something that we have not been discussing over the last few weeks. That's been out of the visible, radar. Vaishali, any suggestion back onto this space, because summers are the space when summers are the time when even focus comes back on the power related themes as well, especially the renewable energy basket. There is a contradicting space right now. Wari Energies shares are down 43% from their peak, but there are still concerns from brokerage houses. They believe the stock could further correct, but at the same time, how would you really look at an SW Solar, Inox Wind, all of these kind of, specific stocks from the renewable energy basket?
So, talking stock specific, let's start with Wari now that you mentioned. I think the stock is consolidating. But having said that, I don't think that it is bottoming out, but it's a matter of time. So actually, the trend for all the sectors, whether it is mid cap, whether it is small cap, also large cap, we are seeing the trend is down, so we don't know. But I think stocks being an oversold, I would say let's not bring so much of pessimism. We must look for good quality stocks and start accumulating from every dip, because there is always a scope of these stocks coming back into action. And I think when market is correcting, that's the time that one can really do some research and get into quality stock. So as I say, power stocks, I don't think will ever go out of fashion. So it's whether it is power transmission, Kalpatru powers, I mean, name it, and I think they will all do well.
Okay, power stocks will never go out of fashion, and one can definitely keep looking at them from a longer time as well, even though they are but keep an eye out on the long term. That's something that we're going to be looking at. Let's see what else is ticking. Let's in fact look at the mid and the small caps basket. 2.7% of an uptick on the mid caps right now. Some stocks are moving up. You see Muthoot Finance up 4.6%. Woodco is coming back. LIC Housing Finance, Suzlon is back in trade. You have Delivery that's improving there. APL Apollo. Then you have stocks like Petronet, Alchem. Some of these diverse names that are up and about in trade. Let's also pull up the small cap index to see how things are shaping up there. On the small caps again, 0.7% of an uptick. Similarly to the mid caps, you have KEC, you have Amber, Tejas, Gains. We've discussed. MCX, IEX is also pulling up in trade about 3% higher. Then CAMS is coming back into shape. You have, Natco Pharmas, SW Solar. We've discussed this space too. GRSE showing us some strength. HFCL, Angel One as well. In fact, let's discuss this brokerage space or the capital markets related spaces. We were discussing with on BSE, but let's extend this conversation to include even CAMS, CDSL, brokerage houses, stocks like, an Angel One or a Nuvama or an Edelweiss. How would you look at this basket yet again now, Vaishali?
So as I said, we spoke about BSE. I would look at CAMS. I would look at CDSL. In my opinion, these can be accumulated.
Okay, got that.
But if you're a trader, then we just take, short-term view and just ride through as and when the opportunity arises.
Okay, got that. I hope that gives us an understanding of how to approach this space. All right, so we do have some information coming in from NASA. There's this news that NASA has confirmed Sunita Williams' Earth return date. They have confirmed that the duo will be returning to Earth on Tuesday, that's March 18th, and that's a great news. And this will be on evening of GMT. And NASA and SpaceX have met to access weather report as well as splashdown conditions, and they finally talked about the evening of Tuesday, March 18th, as the return date for astronauts Nick Hague and Sunita Williams. So that's something that we are going to be looking at. It's a positive news, and finally some good news after 9 months that they've been in space. This is the news that everybody had been waiting to really listen to, and finally we have a date of their return. That is going to be tomorrow evening. So that's going to be an important event to watch out for tomorrow as well. Getting back to markets, what else is ticking at this point in time? Of course, it's the pharma space that's definitely garnering some strength. Dr. Reddy's, Cipla, Sun Pharma, all of them up and about in trade. We're also looking at the banks' financials also doing well. In fact, it's, across the board, we are seeing some signs of an improvement. Let's look at the key sectors in terms of where the gains are shaping up strongly. So barring just IT and, maybe just slight losses on realty, the rest, all of the pockets are up and about. Vaishali, how about IT? Would you still want to stay away? Are you wary of what's happening in the IT stocks as of now?
So in fact, I just recommended a sell on LTI Mindtree. So
Yeah.
IT index, if you ask me, I think let me have a look, because last week we were looking at it and I think 36,000. So 36,000 is the support even on a weekly chart. So if these support levels break, I mean, if I talk about IT index on the whole, then I think we can see a further downslide going towards 32,000. So to my understanding, IT index is still under threat. And we were looking for selling opportunities, and LTI Mindtree is one of the stocks. We had recommended a sell right from 4,600. It's currently at around 42 something. I think still further downside going towards 4,000.
Okay. Fair point. The space that's actually doing well is the auto pack today. Remember, 1.3% higher for this one, and across the board, you see TVS Motors up 2.5%, M&M Bharat Forge, even battery makers and even tire makers, Balkrishna Industries, Exide, that's up and about. Ashok Leyland, Bajaj Auto, Tata Motors, Maruti, Eicher, all of them are up and about. Within the auto segment, Vaishali, what gives you more confidence to sustain? Is it a pocket, maybe two-wheelers or four-wheelers? Or are you looking at absolute stock specific strategies in the auto pack?
Actually, not really, because I am seeing that auto index on the whole is showing weakness. So,
Okay.
in fact, I was looking at Ashok Leyland, and those were the stocks. Maruti, they were the
Hmm.
stocks which were showing competitive, better strength than the other stocks. But
Hmm.
now I think, well, let's see. Auto index also currently at a 100-period moving average taking support on the weekly chart.
Hmm.
So maybe we can expect a bounce, but nothing concrete. So Maruti still continues to be my best of the whole lot as far as auto sector is
Maruti still remains to be the best of the lot. Okay. There is one stock which is on a 52-week high, and that's SRF. 1.3% higher, out of the whole market that we are looking at, only one stock at a 52-week high. On the lows, you have LTI Mindtree, something that Vaishali just pointed out, 4.8% low. It's at a 52-week low. Sundaram Fasters is down 2%. Root Mobile. Then you have Hero Moto, Titan, all of them near their 52-week lows at this point in time. IDFC First Bank as well. Let's look at the stocks which are most active by value. We have IndusInd Bank, 4.5% higher now at 703, back above 700 levels. HDFC Bank, 0.8% higher. Infosys, ICICI Bank, BSE, these are the most active by value. By volume, you see Vodafone Idea coming back a bit, 1.4% up, 7 rupees, 5 paisa. Then you have Yes Bank, Suzlon, Zomato as well, 203. Let's discuss Zomato. Vaishali, what do you make of the current consolidation and how Zomato has been, just consolidating around 200 odd levels of late?
So, Zomato, if we talk about, I think 190 is the near-term technical support. And
Hmm.
from there on, we can expect a bounce. But of course, as we all know, that this is showing weakness. So 190 is the level to watch.
Fair point. Okay, Vaishali, we'll thank you on that note for being with us on the morning edition to share with us all your thoughts there and the key strategies on the markets as well as key
Pleasure.
stocks that you're keeping on your radar. Always a pleasure to have you with us. We'll start winding up the morning trading action. We are nearly half an hour away, half an hour out from the market opening, which means that we are stabilizing at this point in time. But let's see how things improve or from here on. That's something that we will continue to keep an eye out on. Remember, this is going to be a very events-led week that we are going to be tracking. And we have to see how things shape up across the globe as well as in India as well. Let's start looking at winding up the trade in the morning edition. We have the Nifty that's up by, about half odd percent, 0.6% higher, 22,530. So that's with us right in the first half an hour of trade. The Nifty Next 50 is up by 0.7%, Nifty 100 up by 0.6%, Nifty 500 up by 0.6% as well. Mid caps up by 0.7%, small caps up by 0.7% as well. The Nifty Bank up by half odd percent. So all the major indices are actually up and about. Sectorally, the action is positive, barring IT and realty. Rest all of the sectors are positive. You have autos up by 1.3%, a percent higher for financial services too. 1.5% up for the pharma index that's coming back, healthcare as well. About half odd percent uptick for the private banks. PSU banks up by 0.3%, metals up in trade. You also have FMCG about 0.3% in trade as well. So that's as far as the sectoral action is concerned. Even consumer durables or oil and gas for that matter, about half odd percent of an uptick that's coming in. So it's not looking very bad when we talk about the opening levels on trade. When we look at the top movers on the Nifty, you'll find names like IndusInd Bank, Dr. Reddy's, SBI Life, M&M, Bajaj Finserv, and Adani Enterprises as those stocks are up over 2% to even 4.5% as the top movers on the Nifty. Nestle is declining, BPCL, HCL, Tech Mahindra, Wipro, and Infosys. So IT pack clearly on the back foot in today's trading session. Of course, the Nifty 500 names that are actually up and about. You have strong moves that are being seen on LK Equipment, something that Vaishali recommended, 6.7% higher. KEC International, Muthoot, IndusInd Bank, Vijaya Diagnostics. These are some of the names that are actually showing us some strength in the Nifty 500 basket. Those which are still lagging behind in the Nifty 500, you have LTI Mindtree, Personal Solution, Thermax, Happiest Minds, Anand Rathi. These are the kind of stocks that are declining in today. All right, viewers, we'll wrap it up at that. Do stay tuned with us on Business Today Television in case you want to continue to track the markets with us. There'll be a whole host of coverage with top market masters as well through the course of the day. So don't forget to catch on to that. In case you have some questions that are coming in as to whether you should be following some strategies on the markets right now, what do you do with your current stocks? Then you can ask all those questions at 12 noon when I come back at daily calls with top market masters addressing your top stocks specific queries. So send us your queries and we'll be addressing all of them live at 12 noon on daily calls. Stay tuned.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. A very warm welcome to you back on Business Today Television. Our flagship show, Market Guru, gets underway. We are fortunate to welcome Mr. Dheeraj Agarwal, Managing Director at Ambit Investment Managers. Mr. Agarwal has a 35-year